Welcome to the next episode of the After Hours podcast. In today's episode, Frankie and Joe talk to Jenn Randall-Collins about her experience with Proof Alcoholic ice cream. And from what I've heard, it is very, very delicious and slightly intoxicating. So sit back, get comfortable, and grab a cold one with the boys for another After Hours interview.
Grew up a Michigan State fan and won a University of Michigan fan.
I'm a Michigan fan personally.
I'm not really big into college football. I mean, I follow it and I watch all the big games, but yeah. I'm not a diehard fan for one team or the other.
Yeah, are you a pro sports guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love hockey and basketball.
Oh, nice. Okay. Yeah, no, that's interesting. I think it depends on where you grew up. So I grew up in Kentucky. We didn't have any pro sports in Kentucky. If it was pro sports, it was either the Bengals or the Reds, right? That was it. I mean, you really suck if you're a pro sports fan and you live in Kentucky. You got to support those two teams.
And those teams aren't the best.
Yeah,
so.
but with that being said, we could have to be forced to be a Browns fan. Never that.
Yeah, my whole mom's side is from Cleveland, so I know how that goes.
Bless her heart.
Yep. Yeah, they always bring up Ohio State because they don't like talking about the Browns, but we can't say much about the Lions.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'll tell you what, you guys had some great. Just watching the Last Dance, I'm sure both of you guys watched that, the Michael Jordan documentary. But holy cow, back in the day, the Pistons, that was like one of my top two teams in pro sports growing up.
Hell yeah, yes sir.
Let's go. The Bad Boys, they were good.
It was like, I don't know if you guys watching it because you both sound really young, so apologies if I'm making the assumption, but those teams in the 80s and early 90s, holy smokes. When Rodman played for Detroit, just forget it. It was great.
That's how I got into basketball at an early age because my mom absolutely just loved the Bad Boy Pistons. Yeah. And my dad follows all pro sports, but specifically like the Bad Boy Pistons. I remember being in like second grade and my parents showing me like vintage videos from that. It was awesome. Yeah.
It's brilliant. I mean, you can't even touch anybody today in college basketball. Like everybody's a prima donna. They don't want to be touched. And the better your skill set is, the more they don't want to be touched. It's like so obnoxious to me.
Yeah, whereas the opposite back in those days.
Oh yeah. No, it was like if you're going to get fouled, you're not going to get the layup. I mean, it's just not going to happen. You might come out with a broken arm, but you're not coming out with a basket.
Right, exactly.
A little Bill Lambier in the post, absolutely not.
Yes, exactly. Because I have some young guys that work with us, right? That work for me in my organization. They're all like, "Oh, LeBron's the best." I'm like, "Listen, no." I was like, "I hear what you're saying. I do. I hear what you're saying." And now that The Last Dance has come out, they're like, "Oh wow, yeah, Jordan was a different level." I'm like, "Yeah, there's not too many people. I don't know anybody that could outcompete his mindset." Like just from a competitive standpoint, which actually transfers into the entrepreneur or startup world because every day is a challenge, right? And it's the same. It's the highs and lows of winning, losing, trying not to get too high or too low, and just putting your head down and working every day. Because I always try to talk to that language with our employees and team members because it's so much like it's like two-a-days in football, right? But over an extended period of time of 4 to 5 years, getting a company off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my stepdad said, because he watched a lot of Jordan back in the day, he's like, Jordan could be down like 40 with a minute left and be like, come on, guys, let's go. Like, why are you not trying? Like, we're still in this. Like, it's like, that's crazy.
It is. It's like if you're on the court and you're not giving 100% effort, no matter what the score is, then you probably don't need to be playing.
Right. You see some guys these days, they get down and they're like, oh, we're down, whatever, 30, 40. Like, we're just gonna lollygag. But that's not how he was at all.
No, exactly. Or they're just playing for a draft position, right?
Right.
Like, I just don't get that mentality at all.
I remember hearing like crazy stories from Jordan in practice, and he would literally just chirp his teammates all practice until they could guard him once. I remember him going up against Scotty, and if Scotty couldn't guard him twice in a row, he'd make him do it for the entire practice.
It's great.
Yeah, like he was literally like on another level when it comes to like the drive and insanity that he had for the sport.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely phenomenal, and it's so much of what you have to kind of that mentality when you're running your own company, you know, in the early days at least.
Yeah, now everyone's soft.
Yeah,
we are a little young, so
yeah,
that's a good thing. No, listen, it's I didn't really understand that I had this, I guess, entrepreneurial gene inside of me, because I didn't really start out. I had a very small political consulting firm, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. And, but it was really just like a 1-2 man shop. Right. But once I kind of got into this ice cream gig, I didn't really, I was in my 40s. I didn't understand how passionate I was about entrepreneurial pursuit and the ability to drive change, not just with a new product or market category, but really the opportunity to impact, the consumer, from a taste profile, but also the people that are helping me drive this initiative forward. And it's just so much passion for it and doing things the right way. And again, going back to that competitive mindset of getting up every day, what can we do better?
And it shows too, because when I talked to Kim on the phone, she's I believe she's the COO and marketing professional of the team.
Yeah, she's our chief marketing officer. That's right.
Okay, yep. And I remember talking to her on the phone, and it really like resonated with me how passionate that she was about the product. Like it felt like when I was talking to her, like she had literally went and crafted this like before she got on the phone. She talked so highly of it, and like ever since then, I was like, all right, we have to do a podcast with them. Like their product just sounds so phenomenal. And then like she was getting into your backstory, and it was a really cool experience to see someone else that was that passionate about it.
It's incredible. Yeah, we are so fortunate to have her on our team. She has been not just an absolute joy, but she's one of the hardest workers I've ever seen in my entire life. And she just doesn't stop until the job's done, and not just done thoroughly, but done the right way. So we've been really, really fortunate. But have you guys cracked open the pints yet?
No, we haven't. We're still looking at them.
Like I can't wait for you guys to taste it.
I'm super excited. All right, so Joey has, which one do you have right now?
I have the coconut rum.
And I have the mocha chocolate moonshine.
Okay.
So yesterday, we got the package in the mail.
Yeah.
And we did an unboxing video. It was about 2 minutes. We were super excited.
Yeah.
And in our predictions of that video yesterday, I said that I would most like the bourbon caramel just because of my profile for flavor. Yeah. I really like bourbon, and I also love caramel.
Okay.
And Joey, which one did you say you'd like the most?
I said mine would most likely be the cheesecake, but also might be the coconut rum, because rum's probably my favorite overall.
So we're starting with these two, and then the other ones are in the freezer, and we're going to try those a little bit later in the episode.
Okay, that's great. I'm so excited. Okay.
All right, let's try it.
The coconut rum is so good. It almost tastes like a pina colada.
It is. The first thing that people say when they taste it, they said, "Oh my God, that tastes like a day at the beach."
Mm-hmm. I can eat like 100 of these at a day on the beach.
No, that's personally my seasonal favorite for the summer, and just because it literally tastes like a day at the beach, and it's so flavorful, and the rum and the coconut just combine to make one product that I do. I don't get the pina colada taste as much as I do the rum taste, but I think everybody's palate is a bit different.
Mm-hmm. All right, and so I just tried the mocha chocolate moonshine.
Yes.
And I am a big fan. I'm usually not one person to pick chocolate over vanilla, but I'm a big fan of this, and it kind of reminds me of the drink like a Hummer, which is like, Kahlua, cream, Bacardi, and vanilla ice cream. It gives me like a little reminiscent of that, but instead of rum, it's moonshine, and I prefer this.
Yeah, no, it's really good, right? Now, I am a big fan of coffee. In fact, I'm drinking probably my 6th big cup of the day here. Coffee, guys. And mocha chocolate, that's a great year-round flavor. It's also very good, believe it or not, if you were like me, if I had a small scoop or even a tablespoon of that to go in my coffee to make it makes a very nice creamer, as well as the bourbon caramel. But as a standalone product, I don't think it can be beat.
Mm-hmm. It was very good. And then we just got a scoop of each other's right now. I just tried the coconut rum.
Yeah.
And he tried this one. And I'm gonna say gives me that pina colada vibe. Mm-hmm. And I say that because for me personally, I'm not a big fan of coconut, but that is more reminiscent of a pina colada, which I do enjoy thoroughly, and not so much like a crumble, coconut that you get on like a cake or something. Yeah. So I'm a big fan of that as well.
Yes, no, and that's what's surprising about the coconut rum. You don't get the overwhelming. It's not like a coconut cake.
Right.
And I know exactly what you're talking about, the texture of the coconut. You expect that kind of flavor, more powerful, and it's very subtle.
Big fan though. I cannot wait to try the other ones. But let's bring it back now. If I read correctly on your website that the dairy infused with alcohol, that is a family recipe from Kentucky. Is that true?
It is. Yeah, no, it's a recipe from Kentucky. And it's really not infused. Alcohol is a main ingredient, just like, milk, cream, sugar. We stay away from infused only because it could be a bit misleading because, there's a lot of infused products out there that have no alcohol by volume content, and it's infused just with a flavoring extract as opposed to actual alcohol as a main ingredient.
That makes sense. How did you stumble upon this specific combination, and what was the very first ice cream that you started to produce?
So the very first ice cream, well, in Kentucky, as you guys well know, there's three things that you grow up with. You grow up with bourbon, horses, and basketball. I mean, those are the three things that come to mind when you think, or at least when I think of Kentucky and growing up there. So I've always been a really big fan of bourbon and the different bourbons and the stories behind those bourbons. I think it's very much, there's a story behind the product, each product line. But as you know, also, bourbon goes into everything, whether it's, pies or cakes. Bread pudding's really popular in the state of Kentucky, and and actually I ran across this recipe in 2014, and it was just a very generic, just a little bit of bourbon that went into a vanilla ice cream recipe, and ended up getting the opportunity to take it a little bit further with some food science and contacting some folks that I knew in the dairy industry and saying, hey, I'd really, can you help me with this? What can we do to up the alcohol or the ABV and still maintain, the creamy consistency of an ice cream type product? And here we are, 5 years later with this product that you're both eating right now and having phenomenal success getting this to market. And it's really been a crowd pleaser, certainly here in the southeastern U.S.
So were you guys one of the first ones in the United States to actually get the alcoholic ice cream on the market?
To my knowledge, because we do have some intellectual property around this, and we've done third-party searches as early as 2014 and 15, we are the first to get it to mass market as a category. But I certainly think there's been some smaller companies, certainly in the last few years, that have tried to follow us up to the market, but they either compromise on the quality of the alcohol, the ice cream, or both. And you either get a texture that's very grainy, or you get a texture that's grainy and very, almost tastes like Everclear. Like,
oh no,
a very harsh alcohol taste, which, hey, that's okay. I mean, other products validate the market, but sometimes you just get, well, what happens when you experiment with products and don't necessarily have a formula. You get a lot of different varieties out there. But to answer your question, to my knowledge, we have been the first to actually get to market with this type of product.
Yeah, I looked a little into it too, and I saw like 2016 a company did it, 2018, but you started in 2014, 15. So yes. From what I researched too, you guys were the first. I was just getting your opinion on it.
No, it's a great question, because in the guys, the other thing we face too is there are a lot of companies that maybe don't necessarily understand alcohol by volume, right? So there will be some misleading, whether it's intentional or not, there's some misleading labeling out there. It'll say, up to 5% ABV, when in reality, maybe that whole container has 5% alcohol by volume, but it's all stuck at the bottom and it's not creamy and consistent throughout the product. And the real reality is it's probably closer to a Duels or something of that nature.
Mm-hmm. That's just like a mixed drink too. You don't want all your alcohol to just be sitting on the bottom, because the top of your drink is just soda or whatever, and then you get to the bottom and you're just drinking a shot pretty much. So
That's right.
Yeah. And I can tell from this, each bite has a good amount of ice cream and a good amount of alcohol.
I'm thinking about 10 minutes. You guys should be feeling pretty good.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
No, we told Dan and a couple of the other guys in the office. Dan's the producer. I was like, all right, we'll try to save you a little bit of each one. We'll see what we can do.
That's brilliant. I love it. Well, yeah, I don't know what Dan thinks too, right?
Yep. Gotta get his opinion. He's the main leader on the behind the scenes part of the show. So, yeah. When we got the package in the mail yesterday, thank you again for that. We really appreciate it. We were all putting videos and stories up on our personal Instagrams and Snapchats, and I think one of our friends from Tecumseh, right?
Yeah, one of my friends actually. He's like, you can get that. He's like, there's alcohol ice cream. He's like, I'm gonna order some right now. I'm like, sweet, because I feel like I've heard of it before this, but I've never really got out to like actually like seeing it and buying some.
Yeah. We're actually getting ready to launch our e-commerce store online. We were doing it through a third party here in South Carolina for a while, and ended up we're actually going to bring it back in house. So that will be coming soon. If you guys keep an eye on our website for that as well.
Will do. So you started in Kentucky and then you moved to South Carolina. What was the reason you moved to South Carolina, and then why did you decide to stay there for your business?
So that is a great question. Those two states play prominent roles. So grew up in Kentucky. Actually grew up a bit poor and had the opportunity to kind of climb my way out of adverse circumstances, if you will. I lived in a very small town and did that through a basketball scholarship. So coming out of my senior year in high school, I was very fortunate that I had an opportunity to play at many of the schools that you guys talk about, right? Division I schools, whether it's a Michigan or Ohio State. Always had dreams of playing in the SEC because back in the early 90s, the SEC for women's basketball was kind of the creme de la creme, and ended up choosing the University of South Carolina. It was our first year in the SEC. So ended up choosing the University of South Carolina to continue my basketball and education career. Had a phenomenal experience while I was here. Ended up going back to Kentucky after graduation and, got married, had kids, all the great things that you do in your 20s and 30s. And then had this opportunity with this ice cream gig to restart my career because at this point, my children are in their 14 and 16, respectively, in 2014 and 15. So I needed to do something, right? You can't just sit around the house. And really dove into this with both feet, if you will, for lack of a better expression, but started researching the different regulations throughout the U.S. because it is very difficult in the alcohol space because you're regulated by the TTB and usually in a traditional 3-tier system. And lo and behold, after many months of research, I ran across 2 states that had friendly laws on their books at the state level. One of those states was New York, where they had legislation on the books that actually ran it under the Department of Agriculture, where you could have up to 5% ABV with alcohol and food products. And then South Carolina was the other state, which obviously I was already familiar with and had some contacts down here. And it actually did not cap the percentage of ABV. So ended up talking to some of the regulators down here, the folks that actually drafted and passed the bill in the legislature, and relocated from Kentucky to South Carolina in 2015 and started getting the minimally MVP product, the minimally viable product up and running. And then that's where we are today. We're starting to go into other grocery channels and expand outside the state of South Carolina. So really, and South Carolina too is great. It's great for manufacturing and scaling companies in the manufacturing space. Even over the last 2 years, like Volvo has opened up a manufacturing company automotive manufacturing in South Carolina. Boeing just extended their plant here in South Carolina. As you scale manufacturing in the state of South Carolina, it's very, very business friendly. That was kind of the net behind the move from Kentucky to South Carolina for this product.
That's awesome. So do you have any other products that you started with now still?
Well, so what we have is an ice cream platform, and we have this intellectual property around this mix that you're tasting, the dairy piece of it. And in that intellectual property, it allows us to bind other supplements or other ingredients, including, nootropics. We can make CBD ice cream. There's a host of things. Now, with that being said, our focus right now is on alcohol. As we continue to look into the future, I do think you'll see some other product lines come out for us that are in those other substance categories. But right now, heavy focus on alcohol and certainly getting outside of the southeastern U.S. But it's not easy, because you have to go state by state and what their regulations are once you get your federal permitting in place.
Right, because every state's different for both dairy and liquor legislation, correct?
Yes, and what we've done is we've provided certainly the value add here is the disruption in both the dairy space and the alcohol space. That's where from point A to point B, I think, where we really we solve the pieces of the puzzle, if you will.
That's what they always say. If you're looking to make a new product, find where there's a gap in the current space and see where you can capitalize. Obviously, the market is huge for both alcohol drinkers and dairy consumers, specifically, people that enjoy dessert.
Yes.
But it's a brilliant product from like a business standpoint.
Yeah, no, thank you. And we do, look, we have a corporate responsibility to promote this responsibly. And even though we're regulated as a food product in the Carolinas and the state of Florida, we take it very seriously. So when you guys were opening your sample ice creams that we sent to you, I'm assuming we sent those in pint containers, right?
Correct. Yep, 4 pint containers.
In the ice cream industry, interestingly enough, you don't have to have tamper-proof or tamper-evident, which is crazy to me. But anyway, that's what it is. But we, go above and beyond. We have tamper-proof, tamper-evident. You're not walking out of a retail environment without having that package scanned. And there's an age gate on that, just like there is for a 6-pack of beer or a bottle of wine. We take our corporate responsibility very seriously on how we promote and, who we promote the product to as well.
You mentioned you're getting your e-commerce site up.
Yeah.
Do you have your product in a lot of stores right now, smaller stores or wholesale? Any chains?
Yeah. So we're in the Southeast right now, primarily in the Southeast. We're in North Carolina. We're in South Carolina, going into Florida, looking at Georgia and other surrounding states. We are in Total Wine and More. I don't know if you guys have those in the Midwest where you're located.
Not that I'm familiar with.
Fairly large chain. We're in Lowe's Foods, which is a grocery chain similar to, I'm going to say similar to Kroger, but not on the scale. But it's very popular here in the Carolinas. And then Harris Teeter, we are also onboarding them next week. And they're actually owned by the Kroger company. So our focus is definitely on the grocery channel and then building the omni-channel presence by extending out our e-commerce, and just signed a carrier agreement with UPS to be our e-commerce shipping partner.
That's very cool. Yeah, I'm a little bit familiar with some of the chains that are down in North and South Carolina. I was pretty close to going to Coastal Carolina.
Ooh.
School. That was my second school, and the reason I chose University of Toledo was it is only an hour away from my house. So I really had to go back and see the fam, but then also the scholarships and it being in-state tuition for me being so close to the border of Ohio.
Yeah.
That was a big reason, the financial side. But if there was no financials involved, I would have 100% gone to Coastal because it is absolutely gorgeous and it's, it's nice as hell. Like you can't beat it.
Coastal, listen, it is a hidden gem, isn't it? A lot of people don't know about it. And it's not a bad school at all, but you're like, 20-30 minutes from the beach at the most.
Yep.
So you can't beat it. It's and they have great athletics there as well. I mean, they won the College World Series a few years ago, right?
Oh, and they were in the last NCAA tournament, I believe. Yeah. If it wasn't the last one, it was the one before that.
Yep. Nope. You're right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
I remember seeing them in there, and that was my underdog pick. They were like the 15th or 16th seed. I was like, big upset coming. Here we are.
The best was when I got to watch, Middle Tennessee beat MSU. Oh, that was the best. My Michigan State friends were a little sad. They're like, they're going all the way. I'm like, dude, just lost to a 15 seed. How sad.
I remember that vividly. That was like a great, great upset.
Oh, my God.
I remember Mid-10 just made every single three, and Michigan State kept trying to get back, but they just outplayed them the whole game. And like I said, being a Michigan fan, it was pretty awesome to watch.
No, I'm sure, right? Yeah, I'm sure you got a little gloating in. No, that was a fun game. I remember that. It's hard to forget those kind of games, right? Where the 15 upsets a 2 seed.
Oh yeah, yep.
You are in South Carolina. You expanded to North Carolina. You have plans to go to Florida and Georgia, but for people that are like us in the Midwest, we can get it shipped to us. Correct? Like no problem.
Yes, you can. You can get it shipped to you. And we're actually doing I don't know if you guys have heard of Touch of Modern. If you Google it, it's like a men. Well, I think it's geared towards men, and it's like a sharper image. Have you ever heard of sharper image?
Yeah.
Okay, God, I don't know how young y'all are, but it's that kind of product category to men that are interested in technology or kind of upscale, kind of cool things that are, maybe not right off the shelf, if you will, right? Like you can't buy it off the shelf. So they're actually getting ready to launch a promo with our product at the end of next week. So if you get some time, definitely check it out.
Oh, we absolutely will.
Would welcome feedback on that. So that's going to be interesting. That's really our first big launch into the e-com space. What we'll do, I think we really don't know what to expect. It's obviously going to be a bit pricier just because you have to deal with shipping and dry ice and the weight of that. So it makes it a bit pricey. But with that being said, I think we're going to have some really cool collaboration opportunities. And then some opportunities to really be hyper-focused on seasonal flavors that are, particularly during what I would call OND season, which is October, November, and December. And in the liquor industry, that's where they do over 70% of the revenue for the year. So there's going to be some cool flavor opportunities coming out with our products that will be geared towards that, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween season, utilizing more of the bourbon flavors and the whiskey flavors and kind of the brown liquors,
Mm-hmm. So how do the seasons affect what collection you're going to roll out in terms of ice cream flavors?
So when and this is all trial and error, mind you, but so right now we just rolled out like our blackberry moonshine, which is really good, by the way. That'll run through the rest of the summer. Once we start getting into the fall season, we roll back on our apple pie moonshine, which is phenomenal. We've actually got, and I'm not a pumpkin fan. I can't even believe I'm saying this. I make fun of people that go crazy for pumpkin spice, including my children. But we have a pumpkin pie ice cream that, oh my God, guys, it's so good. And I can't even believe I'm saying that because I don't like pumpkin pie, but it's really, really good. And then as we get closer to the holiday seasons, we'll obviously do an eggnog and actually a peppermint that's very nice as well for the Christmas holidays. And then also a pecan pie ice cream. Or pecan, as they like to say down here, I think.
The apple pie the blackberry moonshine sounds good, but the apple pie moonshine, that's actually the first real moonshine I've ever tasted. And like the 130, 150 proof of that I know is pretty good. Yeah. But how similar is the taste from like actual apple pie moonshine to that ice cream?
I'll tell you this, and this is the way people describe it. So, in the majority of people, including myself. So, when you take a bite of our apple pie ice cream, honest to God, you can taste on the front end, you can taste kind of the buttery crust and notes of cinnamon. And then you have this just very smooth kick on the back of the throat or the back of the palate with the alcohol. When we talk about our apple pie or our other bourbon ice creams, we will say it's really the only ice cream that'll warm you up in the winter and cool you down in the summer. And that's because you're kind of having that warm kick on the back of your throat. But it's not a spice. It's just a smooth, warm feeling as opposed to taking a shot of something of 150 proof, moonshine.
That's a good little value prop right there.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. That's you could take out a single serving of ice cream on the ski slopes and still be warm.
Yeah, for real. I love it. Do you guys have any plans to expand into other foods or dairy products with alcohol included in it?
We want to own our ice cream space. That's really our priority, is to own this ice cream space. I know a lot of other folks, and again, it's just because of the disruption between the two worlds. I know it is very popular that folks will do, what are they, rum cakes, infused candies, things of that nature. And I think there's already a market out there for that, or whether it's a bourbon cream candy, bourbon balls, all the things that I think most people have heard of. So I think right now we just want to own our space and do the best that we can. Now, does that mean that we might do ice cream cakes? Yeah, absolutely. Or we might do, mini ice cream pies or sandwiches, cookie sandwiches, something of that nature. What I would call the novelty space. Then, yeah, we're definitely looking into that. That's kind of, it's in the pipeline, but it's not defined, if you will.
Absolutely. And I remember a couple of years back, I was on a cruise and we went down to the Caribbean, and they're like known for rum cakes and stuff like that. And my parents were hyping it up. They're like, "Oh, this is so cool, this and that or whatever." And I tried it. I was like, "Yeah, it's okay." And and I was like, "Yeah, it's okay." And then now having the ice cream, I would pick the ice cream every day of the week.
It's different, right? I mean, and that's the thing, because we have truly figured out how to get a appreciable amount of very good, high quality spirits into this product. But it's not meant to get you hammered. I mean, we're not trying to cater to the college crowd that wants to do 6 shots pregame and then go eat ice cream. That's not us. We're just catering to folks that really enjoy a good dessert, a good indulgence, and they want to do something different. I mean, that's kind of who we are as a company, really. I mean, we're very inclusive, and we want people to have an indulgent experience that whether they're with their friends or they're at a party, that it elevates the experience of whatever it is they're doing in that moment.
Yeah, I could definitely see me in a couple of years or like 10 years down the road, be like, all right, I'm with the fam. Me and my wife, we could have one of these, and then get the virgin version of ice cream for like a child or something, right? So you could all enjoy a movie, and then you and the adults can have the ones that are more appropriate.
Yeah, no, exactly, and we see that all the time. It's like a great treat, and I'm really stunned by the folks that we're in the very conservative South, but the number of let's say I call them little old ladies, but that would not step foot in a liquor store, but man, they will buy several pints of ice cream to share with their bunco group.
That's definitely something my grandma would do. She's not a big drinker, and she never really has been, but if you gave her some ice cream like this, she'd be like, "That's pretty good." And there's only like a teaspoon of alcohol in there. I'll be okay.
Yeah. And then I can get away from you, but no, it's we see that all the time as well.
Yeah. No, I could definitely believe that. Are there any other restrictions that come with living in a primarily conservative, old school kind of state?
No, and that's the thing that I've been most surprised about. They have been very welcoming. In fact, we've gotten more support at the state level, whether it was from local politicians, from our current governor, to the Commissioner of the Department of Agriculture. They've all supported us in amazing ways, particularly from a food innovation standpoint, right? Because from a food standpoint, South Carolina is really known for pecans and peaches. And then there's a pretty sharp cutoff. And we feel like we've brought in a really bright light on the state of South Carolina in a positive way with what we're doing with our product.
I have a question. I'm like, when you're looking at the store, you're at the store, where would you find this? Is it just right next to the alcohol? Like, what do you do to make sure your product gets noticed at stores?
So what we do is actually we are usually near the beer and wine aisle in a freezer, like a standalone, very bright red freezer with white proof alcohol ice cream on it. And if you guys remind me, if you want to share this with the podcast, you can, or pictures before you put it up. But and that red freezer, it's a glass top freezer. You slide it open, it's got LED lights, and that's where all the pints sit. So we're not in line with the regular ice creams because people wouldn't know where to find us. So we start out there with the idea that eventually, once people are familiar with the product, it will go on the top shelf of inline grocery in the regular frozen food section. But for now, near the beer and wine aisle as a standalone freezer, or near the checkout as well, as it can be an impulse purchase as well.
I like that a lot. And I think that is a really good way to get your brand recognized, because I remember like 10 years ago when Red Bull was first starting to get big, whenever you'd go into a store, Red Bull was always in its own cooler or its own like little mini fridge where you could buy them. And that's really when I saw Red Bull start to take off, because that was then every convenience store, every grocery store, you'd walk in and be like, oh, all right, there's a Red Bull container, or there's a Red Bull freezer. Let me go get some, So I think it's a really good idea.
And that's what I'm trying to do. And the other big thing I did or my partner and I did with Red, the Red pints. When I was researching all this and I was looking at pints, most ice cream companies are, it's either a white background, with the exception of Breyers. Most are a white background or green or yellow. It's this kind of food colors that you think of when you think of packaging for CPG. I wanted to go the opposite from that and say, okay, when people see a red pint package like ours or carton like ours, they think alcohol's in there, like alcohol ice cream. There's something different in there. It's not traditional ice cream. So that was part of the kind of method behind the madness on the color palettes.
And I was talking with our designer, Joe. He does a lot of the creative direction for our companies. We have a couple, and he's usually the guy that takes lead on those. Yeah. And when I was looking at your packaging and I showed it to him, he thought it was really cool. But one thing that stood out to me, well, I guess to him, that he conveyed to me was the font that you use for proof. It fits well enough in line that it can also be used with a standard percent symbol, and it doesn't take away from the reading it. So it's proof with custom font on the P, R, and F, but the two O's in the middle stay consistent when reading the product.
And that's well, tell him thank you, because that's exactly what we wanted. And it was, I came up with the percentage, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when I was working on this, going back to the bourbon heritage. And, because anytime you pick up a bottle of bourbon, you look at it and say, oh God, what's the proof of that? Is it 90 proof? Is it 120? Has it been cut down? And that was part of the, taking out those two O's on the packaging and putting in the percentage sign to point to the alcohol in it as well. And hopefully that's helping do that. I know it would work in Kentucky, but we've educated everybody in South Carolina too.
And when I talked to him about it, and he said the same thing as you, that usually fun foods or foods in general usually have like a lighter tone to them, especially, desserts, cakes and stuff like that. They want to be vibrant. They want to stand out. And he made a really good point in saying that you guys are standing out by not following the norm. And he even likes it more because it gives that premium feel when it's red and black are your main colors. It gets away from the juvenile color palette that most people use, and it's almost more of like a luxury premium feel. And I think he'd appreciate me saying that on the podcast, sharing a little insight into a designer's perspective, but that's what his thoughts were on it.
I would appreciate you sharing that and saving this piece for me so I can send it to our team as well, because
for sure.
We had some battles over this from outsiders that were advising us, and they said, Jim, what are you doing? Nobody uses red in ice cream. This is never going to work. And they could still be right. I mean, we're still early days, but I can tell you we've gotten nothing but compliments on our packaging and the use of red and owning red in the space from everybody, from whether it's senior level managers at Kroger, Lowe's, Harris Teeter, to folks like you guys who see the value in what we're trying to do and understand it immediately, because we are not anything like regular ice cream and don't want to be.
No, it's very apparent. I mean, obviously from tasting it, but then at the package level too, it's conveyed that it is to be consumed with responsibility and for adults while also trying to have a good time. So I think your message does a very good job of portraying that.
Thank you. That I'm like smiling from ear to ear. Thank you. That is so great to hear that.
And I mean, like you said earlier, we do sound young. That is because we are. I'm 23, and Joey, how old are you?
I'll be 22 in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So I think if college students can appreciate the branding, I'm sure.
I love that, guys. Oh my God, that's so great. My son's 20, so I'm thinking of him right now, and he actually helps. He works, and does a lot of back office stuff with my partner. But yeah, it's so great to hear that from you guys.
How'd you know we were so young?
You just sound young.
Well, I guess that's a compliment.
Yeah. No. Well, here's the thing. Honestly, I shouldn't have even assumed that, because you're also very professional. So
thank you.
It's just, but yeah, you guys. And I think maybe Kim had told me too. She probably did some research on you guys and said, "Hey, these are young guys, but they're really good. Let's do this." And I said, "Heck yeah, man."
We appreciate it a lot. We put in a lot of work to get this far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, it's your baby, right? You're passionate about it. And the fact that you're doing this on a, what are we, Thursday afternoon, kudos to you guys. You'd be doing a lot of other things that are probably a bit more fun than interviewing a old lady on ice cream.
This is by far like the highlight of my day. It's not even close.
That's great.
Compared to some of our other work, this is definitely this is what we do for like our enjoyment, for our entertainment.
Yeah.
So we love it.
I love it. That's awesome. What are your day jobs? Are you guys doing grad school, or are you is this your day job?
So I'm in grad school currently. I'm getting my MBA. I graduated a year and a half ago with my undergrad in healthcare administration.
Ooh.
And I had multiple internships at Mercy Health and rehab facilities up in Michigan.
Yeah.
And I loved the work and I loved meeting with, all kinds of people from different backgrounds. But ultimately, I didn't like someone controlling my day-to-day per se. I definitely wanted to be on the entrepreneurial route because my dad has owned multiple restaurants in the past in Florida and Arizona. And he said the only way, to really enjoy your work is if you're working for yourself. So that's when Joey and I and 4 of our other friends, we started our own company, which is Winhouse Software. And I would say our day-to-day mostly is doing custom software solutions for businesses. And also we do digital marketing as well. We have an arm in that space as well. And that's pretty much about it. That's like the high level. Joe, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, for me, I'm in CSE, computer science engineering. I have about a year left still, a little younger than the other boys.
Yeah.
And then my day-to-day is pretty much the same as him. We do a lot of the discovery for customers. So market validation, seeing whether products are viable.
Writing business plans, marketing plans for it's kind of like a multi-layered consulting where we do a lot of the consulting work up front, but then we also bring your product to market through developers and designers that we have on the team.
Nice. No, that's great. That sounds really, really interesting on both of your parts.
Mm-hmm. So we really enjoy that. And it's fun in its own right. But me and Joey, we are personable and we really do like to get to know and learn from the experiences of others. So that's why I would say this is, the highlights of my week here doing the podcast.
The way you talk.
Oh, hello.
Oh, whoa, it cut out for a second. Sorry, my computer just wonked out. Are you there?
Oh, you're good. I heard like a little voice recording or something in the background.
It was like my computer's version of Siri. Sorry, I have no idea why that's freaking me out. I have no idea why that just happened.
Oh, you're good. That's funny. You never know with, technology, some stuff like that happens.
Oh yeah, no, let me tell you, I'm telling you guys, technology is not my friend. And my teenagers are the ones that set all my stuff up and keep me up to date. So
I was going to ask, you have a company that does a lot of your technology stuff, or is it mostly your kids?
It's my kids for me personally, and then my partner comes from the tech space, so he takes care of the company stuff on the technology side.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what is your day-to-day like?
My day-to-day, oh my God, this is what we love about being entrepreneurs, right? So one day is not consistent to the next. They're all new and fun. So my day-to-day is usually a morning full of conference calls. My afternoons are spent either with the team or on more conference calls, just making sure everything's running smoothly. I do a lot of work on regulations outside of the Southeast, where I try to figure out where there might be a good fit for our product. Like we're looking hard at California and looking hard at Texas. But here's the thing. You could be working on a project for your company and get pulled away for firefighting. Like, let's say a freezer went down in the facility, and making sure that we have the systems and processes in place to take care of that. So it just varies from day to day, but it's very long days, which I personally love most of the time, 99% of the time. Just a lot of follow up on the people that we have. We're still pretty small. We've got about 8 to 10 people across our organization, as well as 4 to 5 part-time people, or what I would call seasonal employees. But still doing a rapid growth here over the next 6 to 9 months as we expand.
Yeah, that sounds pretty in line with what I would expect, a founder, CEO to be doing, just making sure that your tasks can help the others that are, below you and work with the team. So it seems like you got a pretty good grasp on working with your team and how to fix solution or how to come up with solutions when problems arise.
That's it. And that's the key, right? I am a big believer in surrounding myself with people a hell of a lot smarter than me. And I think I've done a really good job of that. But I've done everything from, drive an ice cream truck for 17 hours a day and this was like back in the day when we first started, graduating to where I don't have to necessarily be the one doing that every day. And we have team members that can execute and do it much more efficiently than I did in the early days.
Well, you were talking about expanding and you're looking at other places like Texas. You should really look into San Francisco, because we had a guest on a couple of days ago that is from San Francisco and he owns a bar. And currently right now there is no solution in place because San Francisco can't open back up until mid-August. So I really think you could capitalize on that space. And obviously they're a lot less conservative on the West Coast. So I think people would be very apt to try your product.
I do too. And I've got a couple of investor partners that are on the West Coast, and they're actually in the San Francisco area, or Mill Valley. I think that's near San Francisco. So no, you just nailed it. That's exactly what we're looking at right now. In fact, I had a call with the head of the ABC, the alcohol beverage control folks in California a month ago. And it looks like we're going to be able to go into there and to California relatively easy with the right permits and state licenses in place.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So I don't think we've asked this yet. What is your favorite flavor? I know it's probably hard to choose with all the different ones.
I know. Yeah. Okay. So if I could never have any other alcohol ice cream flavor ever again in the history of my life, I would have to say it's the bourbon caramel. Oh my God, guys. It's just, have you guys tried it yet? No, you haven't tried that.
No, we have not. I'm actually about to go grab those two out of the freezer. Those two being the caramel and then the cheesecake moonshine.
Oh, please do that.
Right back.
Perfect.
We're definitely excited to try these two.
Oh, I'm telling you, this bourbon caramel. Here's the thing: it's a game changer. I mean, it's so good. It's good as a standalone, which I prefer. But it's also good on cakes, pies, brownies. It's good as a coffee creamer. It's really good if you guys like dark beer and doing a scoop in like a stout or a Guinness.
Ooh, I could go for that.
Yeah, it makes it so creamy and it ups the ABV. It's amazing.
All right, we're cracking them open right now.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I got to hear your reaction to this.
I got the bourbon caramel.
Okay.
I got the cheese moonshine. I'll let Frankie go first since you said that was your favorite.
Yep, I got it.
I love cheesecake.
This is the one I was most excited for.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, it's like a game changer. Stupid good.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it amazing?
That is so good. And like I said, I'm big into the darker spirits, and I love bourbon.
Yep.
And it's a really great balance between getting that nice like little I don't want to say sting because that puts the wrong image in someone's head, but it gives you that nice little taste at the end of the bite. And obviously the sweetness is there too. Yep. I mean, it's vanilla. I love it.
Yeah, it's good. And listen, the cheesecake's good too. Don't get me wrong. The cheesecake is great on cobbler as well, like a blueberry or a peach or.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you put the cheesecake on anything. It's really good as a standalone. I just tried that as well as the bourbon caramel, which is great. But yeah, do you put the cheesecake you were talking about on brownies and other dessert? Do you do that often?
Yeah. A lot of our folks do. They'll get the cheesecake for parties, and they'll or just serve it over like angel food cake with some fresh strawberries and a little bit of whipped cream, or any kind of dessert. The cheesecake is really, really good, and the bourbon caramel is too. But the cheesecake's amazing for that as well.
I'm devouring this right now.
Yeah.
Which one are you devouring?
He's got the bourbon caramel.
Yeah. So good. So good.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean, really, and I'm telling you guys, a scoop of that in like a pint of Guinness or a milk stout, holy smokes. It's just amazing. But it's so good as a standalone, though. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I'm taking a little picture real quick for the Instagram.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, no, they're all so good. It's hard to say which one my favorite is. They're all so good.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, that's me too, right? Like, I can't. It depends on what mood I'm in, right? Like, I can't. Like in the summer, I really do love that coconut rum. I mean, it's like freaking summer in a pint, you know.
And I will say the coconut rum was the sleeper pick. I think that one is really, really good. Yep. And I didn't think I thought it was gonna be more of that, like the grain coconut flavor, but it's more of like a pina colada in my opinion.
No, and I'm telling you, the consumers in the Southeast agree with you. You know, they love that coconut rum. But the year-round favorite would be definitely the bourbon caramel. And then probably the mocha chocolate, and then whatever seasonal we have rotating on.
I believe it. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. And then we do a pistachio, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I don't love pistachio ice cream, but ours, it's really just a hint of pistachio. Like, it's not overwhelming.
Yeah, I like it. Is it kind of like pistachio bread? Because The pistachios are okay, but like pistachio bread is pretty tasty to me.
Yeah, it is very similar to that, but it's a little bit more muted, and it's made with a rum. It's really actually pretty good as well.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I definitely, once we get around here a little bit, we need to order the strawberry moonshine, the blackberry moonshine. Definitely want to try both those.
I'm waiting until the apple pie comes back out.
Oh yeah,
I gotta get some of that too.
Yeah, and really, like a half a scoop of the apple pie and a half scoop of the bourbon caramel together. Holy smokes, it's really good. It's like, it tastes like a caramel apple, right?
Fuck, that sounds so good. Oh my God. So what experiences do you draw on as a former college athlete that you now use when you operate, your business, Proof?
Oh, well, it's grit, grind, and passion, right? And it's just the ability to get up. It's such a cliche, but it's so true. It's the ability to get up every day and continue to take steps forward, despite the fact that you might have to take, not just 2 steps, but 4, 6, 8 steps back at any given time. And to be able to do that day after day and move the needle in the right direction for your company and for your brand is everything. But you just can't quit. I mean, you just absolutely can never give up. That's really what this whole game's all about. Now, I don't care if it's alcohol ice cream or you're selling widgets or, it doesn't matter what it is. You cannot freaking quit ever. You just can't, no matter how bad you want to, right? And I'm sure you guys have similar stories, right?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's always a grind, and you can't just because 1, 2, a week or a month is hard. You can't just give up, because the people who keep going are the ones who make it.
That's right. No, and I think that's proven time and time again. So it's and listen, there's days where I get up and I'm just like, man, I am 47 years old and I'm busting my ass 17 hours a day. What am I doing? I'm too old for this. I'm like, nope. You know what? No, I'm not. This is a great product, great team. What can I do to make it better for today? And that's kind of the mindset, But most days are really fun. I mean, it's few and far between when you have those, those days where you're like, golly, what the heck am I doing? But they are present. And any entrepreneur that says those days are not present they're just full of it,
Yeah.
Or they're not being truthful,
That's one thing that I've noticed as well, is it helps when we have a group of guys. We're all around the same age. We all have similar interests, and obviously we're all from the University of Toledo. So we have some common ground, but now it's like if 1 or 2 people are having a bad day, it's like, all right. Like we can pick up the other guys, like if they're having a bad day, it's like, all right, what can we do to help you make your day just a little bit easier? Or there's some tasks that we can delegate, to the team. So I think that's what I like most about our team personally.
And that's the key, right? And it's also, it's for those team members to accept the help with the right intention. Because a lot of people, if you offer to help them, they'll say, no, I've got it. And then the ball gets dropped further and further and further. So, surrounding yourselves with the right people to pick each other up is key. No question. It sounds like you guys have a phenomenal team.
Oh yeah, we do.
It's pretty solid. Yeah. I'd say, we got pretty much all of the bases covered. I do a lot of the business. I am an MBA student. Hopefully I'll be done next year. And then Joey has the good balance between, business, being that you have a business background from working on the farm and selling products.
And working at Chrysler as a business unit leader.
Yep, exactly. And then also you have the CSE knowledge, computer science engineering. So you can really bring those 2 worlds together if there's ever an issue. Then we have Dan, who does, audio, videography, does social media. Yep, he designs. His degree is in media communication, so he can handle a lot of social media. Joe, head designer, has a lot of great creative direction, logos, fonts. I mean, he's our main designer when it comes to prototyping applications or web apps, websites too. And then Matt and Evan are the co-founders, and they're both, senior developers in the software space, and they have a lot of knowledge for being relatively young.
Nice.
So we got kind of lucky with the team that got put together between all of us.
That's incredible. That's great. Well, congratulations on that. That's 90% of the battle, no matter what the project is. It's a team.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, we take pride in our team, and everyone does their fair share. We all we're all grinding now. So that way, hopefully in 5-10 years, it'll be a little bit easier when we start to bring other people on.
That's exactly it. Nope. That's the model.
So for you, Jen, when you're starting a company, when you're making a product that's never been done before, what kind of can go right and what can kind of go wrong along the way? And how could somebody else kind of avoid some of these things that could possibly go wrong?
Well, it goes back to team, right? So first, I think the first thing when you're looking at a CPG product like ours is the product good enough, or is there a market fit? And one of the first things I did was to, I went around from different upscale restaurants and bars, just testing the product with the food and beverage managers and some of their customers, and immediately knew there was a fit for what you guys are tasting, that people love the product. So I knew there was a market demand for it from a consumer perspective. And then after that, it's who do you surround yourselves with? And I do say this kind of in a joking manner, but I'm also very serious. It's people that are a lot smarter than me, but have my work ethic and my integrity and the values, missions and values of how I want to drive this forward. So I've been very fortunate to surround myself with a team, and also have a co-founding partner who, although he's very different in skill set, he's very similar in mindset on what it takes to drive a company forward. So those two things are the most important to me. And then the third thing is just that mindset of never giving up until you reach your goal. And I think with those three things, you can be widely successful on any project that you want to do, whether you're selling widgets or selling alcohol ice cream.
Well said. And I think that covers a lot of the main components of expanding and really bringing your business to the next level. I mean, you can only be a one-man show for so long, you know?
That's right. No, you can't, because you got to have help. I mean, at the end of the day, you just got to have help. And again, you also got to have, check, at least with our company, you got to check your ego at the door, right? Because nobody has all the answers. And you got to be willing to support one another and lift each other up and listen. And that's why I think we've got this great environment within our team that there's the ability to agree to disagree. And the folks that don't agree with the path forward, they still commit, right, to the decision. And I think that's enables us to expand the way that we want to expand without a whole lot of disruption.
You touched on a lot of things that entrepreneurs do correctly to get to the next step. What do you think are some things that, I'm going to use this term, it's been thrown around on the internet the last couple of years, wantrepreneur. Yeah. What do you think that wantrepreneurs do wrong that entrepreneurs succeed at? Because there's so many people that try to start up their own business, but then they always fail in their first weeks, month. They usually don't even make it a year, you know?
Yeah, no. I think I think one of the first thing is the ego, right? They want it to be all about them. I think moving beyond that, they don't understand what the market fit is, or if there is a market fit. So it's like maybe whatever it is, their product or service that they're trying to get to market or financially benefit from, there's no fit for them or their skill set or their product. Yet they still try to force, a square peg into a round hole instead of taking a step back and pivoting to look and see where else their skill set or their product might be a fit. And then the third thing I think is they just they don't have the right team, right? And when you don't have the right team, that makes a whole lot of things go wrong. So I think those three things are where a lot of, I guess, entrepreneurs, that term cracks me up, but I think those three identifying characteristics. And I'm amazed at the amount of egos I see in that space, right? On the ones that fail early, because they make it all about themselves instead of making it about their team and their product.
That always blows my mind, is someone that hasn't even really gained traction within their business and they think they're hot shit, and then they pull up to, a networking event and they're saying all of these buzzwords or, hot key terms that, are getting thrown around. Yes. And it's really like, what have you actually, achieved? We've seen multiple people or businesses at networking events and, just around the area or online, and very full of themselves. And it is, I don't know how to just put it into terms. I guess I feel bad for them in one respect, but then I also hate them in another just for being like that. I don't know. It's
hard not to, right? It's such a flag too. And I don't understand either, because what I love, I've been in the corporate world. I've been a solo entrepreneur, with my own very small business and then doing this gig, which is growing rapidly. But what I love about entrepreneurship and the environment that I'm in, I knew nothing about the regulatory environment for dairy or alcohol when I started working on this, 6 years ago. The opportunity to learn, this is what I love about entrepreneurship. I learn something new every day. I learned something new talking to the two of you, right? Like I didn't know anything about podcast. That's learning is the part that's most fun for me, and growing as an individual and as a team. So the folks that come in with the BEs and just exactly what you were talking about, it's such a turnoff, because you know that there is no path to success with that type of attitude ever. Like you've got to be willing to learn every day and improve.
Yeah, I think you touched on it. People that really don't have a sense of humility or like you said, they think they already know, so why would they learn? Like that kind of attitude. That is a really big turnoff to anybody that is in the business space. And I know from working with other clients and stuff like that, that's part of the reasons why we've been picked for some projects over other companies.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's played a very big role.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it is. No, I love it. I feel so fortunate to do what I do because I get to learn something new every day, and because I'm surrounded by a great team, right? Like I would step on train tracks, jump in front of a train for any one of our team members, because they lay it on the line every day and sacrifice so much. And as you guys both know, leadership and winning, something has to be sacrificed, right? And these guys do it every day.
So has most of your team been with you for a pretty long while?
They have. Yep. They've been the last 3 years.
Very nice.
That's awesome.
What are the biggest struggles that come with dealing with a product that is in the dairy space? And then what is the biggest struggle that is also accompanied with that when being in the liquor and spirit space?
Both are the same. It's regulatory environment. So we are regulated at the federal level by the TTB, which is the Tax and Trade Bureau. So we have that regulation to deal with. At the state level, we deal with DHEC, which is our, the food folks at the state level. So we have to follow very strict protocols on both sides of the aisle in our manufacturing facility, and we do that very well. It's taken a number of years to perfect that exact system and processing, but that would definitely be it would be the regulatory space for both sides of the aisle.
Fair enough. That would be a headache all on its own.
It is. No, it's incredible. There's a lot of red tape in both alcohol and the dairy space. A lot.
Do you take inspiration from other ice cream brands or alcohol brands when thinking about making a new product?
I'll tell you what, I really, on not ice cream brands so much, but alcohol, not only because I'm from Kentucky, right? So I'm familiar with the bourbon families and the bourbon houses. So the ones I really love that historically are a bit older, Jim Beam and Maker's Mark, before they sold out to Beam Suntory. They are a phenomenal brand that do things the right way. And then one of the newer expressions on the bourbon side would be a company called Rabbit Hole. And they've done a phenomenal job as well on how they've created and how they build up their brand and sticking to the core values that are important to them.
What type of alcohol, like your rum, your vodka, do you guys make that in-house or do you use certain types?
Well, that's one of our trade secrets. So right now we don't disclose, it's all top shelf alcohols, but we do not disclose who our alcohol partners are at this time.
Okay, nice. Is there a reason for that?
It's just more for the opportunity to explore how the partnership is going to go down the road. So we can use a variety, of bourbon, rum, moonshine, mezcal, tequila to make our product. But right now we choose to sit on the opportunity before we look at co-branding or things of that nature as we move forward.
That makes a lot of sense, because you don't want to almost, pick one brand and then people are like, oh, it's that brand and you're only going to use that brand of alcohol to make it.
Yeah, no, that would be one good example. Yeah.
you mentioned tequila in that mix. Have you ever thought about doing like a tequila sunrise, maybe a citrus flavor, a little bit like that? I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. We have done some tequila. We've done some tequila flavors in the past. We don't currently have one on the menu right now, but we are looking at R&D on that. I've done a vanilla that's very nice, but yeah, I like a tequila sunrise too.
I think that would be really good.
Yeah, no, I do too.
If you weren't operating Proof and you weren't an entrepreneur and you had a standard 9 to 5, what do you think you would be doing? What industry would you be working in?
Oh gosh, you're killing me now. Let me think.
This is generally one of the hardest questions we ask, because most of the people we interview, they're like, What do you mean? This is what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine doing something else. I think, I know, I would probably be in athletic administration at, the collegiate level. That's where I would be.
That seems like a good fit as well, seeing that you are a former D1 athlete and you know a lot about sports.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's probably where I would default to.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
I really don't want to. I love my gig.
What position did you play in basketball?
I played in college. I was anything from a shooting guard to a small forward. So played to a power forward. So 2, 3, 4.
What position did you like the best?
I like the 3 position. I like the small forward position because you could go inside, outside quite a bit and be creative.
Kind of do a little bit of everything like you do now.
Yeah, that is. No, it's like, and listen, when we hire, it's so funny because my co-founder, he is not necessarily a sports guy, not in a bad way, but he's a tech guy. And when I try to explain this, he's like, what are you talking about? I said, we need to hire hybrid employees. He's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, like a swing player. He's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, somebody that has multiple skill sets that can play many positions for us. So it's, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about because, as an entrepreneur, you wear many hats, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love having team members that have a whole plethora of skill sets.
Could you imagine, like, we need a hybrid employee, so half man, half dog? Like,
That's funny, I know, right? Is that what you mean? Yeah, half man, half dog, half wolf.
No, I know how that is. Sometimes you talk to some girls or just some people that aren't.
Whoa.
Or some people that aren't familiar with sports, and then you throw out some terms like that.
I would say Frankie and another one of our guys, Joe, they're big into hockey, and I follow pretty much every sport. And I used to follow hockey, not much anymore. So they use some terms, and I'm like, I don't know what language that is, but I don't know.
That's so funny. No, the only thing I know in hockey would be, I guess, a hat trick. I'm not that familiar with hockey either. I love watching it though.
There you go. Yeah. Are you a big Canes fan?
Canes. Oh, that's the Charlotte NHL version, right?
Yep. The Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm not a big fan. If I was going to be a fan, I follow a little bit, very, very lightly, the Blackhawks.
Okay.
But that's because I like, the Chicago Bulls. I'm a big fan of, that's the old school stuff, right? So by default, I'll get Chicago news because I follow the Chicago Bulls. So I see the Blackhawks.
And the Blackhawks are an original 6 team. Original 6 being the first 6 teams to found the NHL.
I didn't know
so
that.
They're pretty old school. Yeah. Learn something new every day, right?
Yeah. Who are the other 5?
Detroit, Montreal, Chicago, New York, Toronto, and Boston.
Okay. God, that is so cool. No, I've heard an NHL game live is one of the best sporting events across all sporting events that you can watch in person.
I would agree with that 100%. I remember going to Game 7 of the Detroit Red Wings versus the Chicago Blackhawks back in, I believe it was 2011 or 2012. I was pretty young at the time, but that's still like one of my fondest sporting events ever just because it was at home, Game 7. You just can't really get a better atmosphere than that.
That's neat. Yeah, that sounds really neat. Mm-hmm. Who won that game? Chicago?
No, Detroit won in overtime. Darren Helm had the game winner.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. You remember that, right?
Oh, yeah. Never forget.
And he's got the Predators hat on now, right?
Yeah, I got a Nashville Predators hat on.
Yes.
I still don't really know what team he roots for. He wears a different jersey or a different hat every day. So
you guys are probably a Dave Portnoy fan, a Barstool guy?
Oh, Dave Portnoy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of him. Yeah, he's a funny dude.
He is a funny dude. We went on Big Brain a couple of years ago. If you Google Big Brain alcohol ice cream, you'll see us on there. We had just bought out the first company I ran, and you guys will see an episode of us on there. We didn't have any of our red packaging. It was really an amazing experience.
When was this?
This was in, let's think, guys. We bought out in, I think
there it is.
2018, 19. Oh, it's so funny.
I think it says July 2019, maybe, if this is the right one.
Yeah, it was wild. But we filmed it in like March. Did we film it in 18? I think we filmed it in 19. I can't remember, but it was a hoot. And Taffer was absolutely phenomenal. He was so nice.
The questions that we want to ask.
He started the video.
That's funny. Yeah, you guys should check it out later. You'll laugh hysterically because we didn't have any of the thing. I mean, you are talking to me like, over close to a year since that aired. So over 18 months since we went on there, and we've made incredible strides, including getting into these multiple grocery channels. Yeah,
Barstool's definitely pretty huge right now too. So
yeah.
Oh, they've crushed it. I mean, it's interesting because. I know he can be a lightning rod too. I guess it depends on what the sense of humor is and what people take seriously or take for sarcasm, depending on the personality type that watches that content.
Yeah, I think Portney, he's pretty like direct, but he's definitely a funny guy. But when he needs to be, he's pretty direct and like straight to the point.
Yeah, no question, right?
Yeah,
no question.
Well, as we start to wind down the podcast here, we always like to ask our guests a couple of fun questions, a couple off topic, not nearly as serious. So my first one is, and this is the one that we always ask our guests is, do you have any good ghost or like paranormal experiences that you'd like to share?
Oh, let me think. Ghost, paranormal. I don't know. Y'all going to be haunting me in my sleep tonight if I did this. Good. So my answer, okay, yeah, I took all right, yeah, I got one. I took a tour in Charleston. They have ghost tours in Charleston, South Carolina on these, through these really, really old graveyards. And they said we had a paranormal experience when we saw some green lights over the mist of the very old Civil War grave. So I guess that might be one experience in Charleston, but that was a group tour. Does that count?
Absolutely. Right. I mean, you're welcome to share more, though. We're always interested in this.
You guys should go check it out. You got to go to Charleston, South Carolina, and you can take tours on these old, like, Civil War walks and tours of the jails and all those good things that are underground at sea level. Those are very, very interesting. So that's my, I guess, one experience that I would speak to.
I've been through Charleston, going to Florida a few times. It's a very beautiful spot.
Oh, it's so much fun, too. It's so fun. It's a really cool city at night as well. Yeah, definitely give it a night or two there. You guys would enjoy it at your current ages of being over 21.
So what is the most thrill-seeking thing you would say you've done?
Thrill-seeking. I mean, God, I did stupid stuff when I was like a kid, like a teenager, like jumping off, I don't know, 30 and 40-foot cliffs into a river.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, but everybody did that, right? Like, I've been, I guess, parasailing.
Oh shit!
Is that really thrill seeking though?
I mean, I would say so.
I would say pretty thrill seeking. Also, jumping 40 feet, going bridge jumping that's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, it was fun. It's really fun. It's pretty popular on a couple lakes in Kentucky. Pretty stupid, probably, right? So probably those are my top two. And kite surfing. That's pretty fun. Did that in Jamaica. That was pretty cool. Oh, wow. I was much younger.
Yeah, I've heard of my sister and some of her friends go to Lake Cumberland, I think.
Yeah.
And they said they jumped off some pretty big waterfall type stuff into some lakes there. So
much fun. That's funny that you say that. That's one place I've jumped, and also at Harrington Lake. Ask her about that if she's been to Harrington Lake. She'll probably know what I'm talking about.
Well, I definitely will. I'm assuming if they go to Cumberland every year. So if it's decently far away, I'm sure they've at least visited it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Is that coming down from Michigan, Ohio area?
Oh yeah, all her friends are from either like Ann Arbor-ish area or Cleveland area. So they usually 8 to 10 of them that go there pretty much every year, or at least every other year.
Yeah, it's a fun lake. It's really fun. The one I grew up near in Kentucky was Cave Run Lake. That's equally fun, but no cliffs there, so not as much thrill seeking there.
See, I think it'd be a little scary for me personally to jump off a cliff. Like, I've jumped out of a plane, but I think it'd be scarier to jump off a cliff, in my opinion, because like I can see what's below me in the plane. Like in the cliff, you can't really see what's below you in the water.
Yeah, no, that's very true. No, that's very, very true. But listen, I would never do it. I mean, this is when I was like in my late teens and early 20s. Like, I'd never do that again. And now I can finally admit to doing this because, it would have been a violation of my athletic letter that you signed because you're not supposed to do any of those things.
Right.
We can always cut this out of the podcast, know?
Yeah. It cracks me up. I mean, these are questions I would never I had to think really hard. What have I done? Like, or what do I need to add something to my bucket list here? What's, So these are really stimulating questions. I like it.
Do you like roller coasters?
Love them. Oh my God. I love the Beast at Kings Island. Kings Island is the most I've probably done from that perspective, and then Six Flags. But my kids love, what's the one in Ohio? My kids love it.
Cedar Point.
There you go. My kids have been to Cedar Point probably 10 times over their lifetime.
Have you been to Cedar Point?
I have not been there yet, but I've heard I've got to get my kids are like, Mom, you have to go do this.
You really have to go. Like, I like Kings Island, and I've been to a couple of amusement parks up in northern Michigan.
Yeah.
And it does not compare. Like, Kings Island is the closest thing to compare to Cedar Point, but Cedar Point is a whole nother beast. Oh,
my kids said, after going to Cedar Point, my kids said Kings Island is like the water playground or like the baby pool at the pool.
Yeah. That's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, no, that's off. No, that's I'll have to get them back up there because they grew up in Kentucky until 5 years ago, so this has all been a big change for them as well.
Yeah, I only thing I have to compare Cedar Point to is like my local fair, so I don't have much of an opinion on that.
No, I gotta say about your local fair, you're probably taking a little more danger than you're aware of there.
Oh yeah, I definitely those rides when they're like spinning and you're in those one little car or they have the flying like swing things. Yeah. Like I'm like God, I hope these just don't fly off.
Oh yeah, and you see the little rust at the top of the chain. You're like, oh yeah, I'm sure they took care of that.
Yeah, they've set up the same equipment the last like 80 years. You're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
You see other people already fly off today. You just hope it's not you next.
Yeah, you're not the statistic. You're good.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Another question that we always ask our guests is there a hangover recipe in your opinion? If there is, what is it?
A hangover recipe? Well, I think it's a scoop of our ice cream would be the hangover recipe, don't you?
I think now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that's probably one of the best ways to, get the hair of the dog the next morning in a pretty friendly way to digest it after a hangover. Yeah. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, just like
I would do it in a if you don't like coffee, I'd do that in a make a Coke float.
Ooh, okay.
Good.
That would be pretty solid.
Well, just like a pint or two to start the morning should be good, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. One pint will set you right, I think. Absolutely. With a greasy cheeseburger.
Oh, yep. Mm. What's your favorite cheeseburger down in where you're at now?
Oh man. Gotta say probably have to go. I hate to say it, but Five Guys.
Oh yeah,
they do it right. They do it right at Five Guys. We've got a smash burger down here too, but I can't go there because Five Guys just crushes it. And we also have what's really popular down here is a place called Cookout.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
Yeah, no, they pride themselves on like grilled burgers, but it's the late night spot along with obviously there's a Chick-fil-A on every corner down here in the South.
Yeah, I definitely didn't have that for lunch today.
That's funny. What's your go-to? What's your all's go-to on burgers?
Here, mine personally is probably like if a quick burger is Five Guys as well. Yeah. In the South, when I've been there, Whataburger is one of my personal favorites down there.
That's funny. I've not had that yet.
Really?
No, I've not. I've seen them, but I haven't had it yet. You say it's a little bit better than Five Guys?
I don't know. I won't say that. They're like different types of burgers.
Yeah.
It's really hard to beat like Five Guys for like how quick and good they are. It's hard to beat them.
Yeah, wow.
I have an opposing opinion to that. Five Guys is great in its own right, But if we're talking about a single standalone burger place that isn't a franchise, there's a place in Dearborn, Michigan, just outside of Detroit, and it's called Miller's Bar. And Miller's Bar, man, like this thing, like you need 3 hands on this burger to pick it off the plate. Like this thing is massive, and it's just it's massive. It's really good, and then you get like 2 pieces of Velveeta cheese on top, and
great.
You can't beat it. It's every year it's ranked in the top 100 burger places in the U.S. Yeah, in 2019, I believe it was like 78 or like 79 because I was telling my roommates about it, and that is my for sure go-to place for burgers when I'm back home, Dearborn, Michigan. I would give it a check it out if you're ever able to visit.
No, I've traveled through that area, usually through the airport, but I'll definitely check that out.
Super good. That's been my favorite burger since I was little, being from like around that area and stuff.
Sure. No, that's good.
And so you're from Kentucky. What is your favorite hometown restaurant?
Holy smokes! It can be anywhere in Kentucky. Okay, it's in Western Kentucky, and it's called Patty's.
Okay.
And some people call it Patty's on the Pier, and they serve like a 3-inch pork chop that you cannot find anywhere else in the world, along with flour pot bread. It's literally bread that's baked in a clay flour pot. Amazing.
Do they have that in Louisville?
No.
Okay, I was going to say, I swear, I must have seen like an ad for it when I was in Louisville because that sounds super familiar.
Oh, people go nuts for it. It's people travel from all around the U.S. just to go there and literally, it's ridiculous. And it's in Grand Rivers, Kentucky, like little know-nothing town outside Paducah on very near Kentucky Lake.
That sounds really good. And you've been all over. You mentioned earlier that you'd visited Jamaica, and obviously, you're from Kentucky. You currently live in South Carolina. What is the one place that if someone's looking to get away for a week or a weekend, where would you recommend to go in the future?
Stateside, speaking of my state right now in South Carolina, I would recommend that people go to right outside of Myrtle Beach. There's Murrells Inlet and Pawleys Island, which is absolutely beautiful. And then internationally, you can't beat Italy and Lake Como. I think that's the other place that's on my bucket list. I would love to go there.
For sure. Yeah, that's on my bag as well.
Is it? Yeah, I've been to Europe, but I've not been to Lake Como.
What parts of Europe have you visited?
Just England, Ireland, and just the UK.
Oh, just the UK.
Listen, for a small town girl, it's not too bad.
No, we the reason I say that is because we have some friends that are from the UK. Joey is much closer with them than I am, but they were in our fraternity. They studied abroad here for 2 years. So they're from like Manchester and Liverpool maybe.
They went to Salford University. Yeah, Manchester. One was from London. Most of them were around the Manchester area though.
I know it very well. No, my children are half English, and their father is from the Midlands, which is near that's Manchester's considered the Midlands. So ask him if they've ever. He actually played professional soccer for Wolverhampton, and they'll ask everybody. They'll know who that is. They'll know where that is.
I'm sure one of my one of the English guys who actually came down, his brother was like a semi-professional and even played like a year professional in Manchester as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if he at least knew of him.
Yeah, no, it's a small world. It's So in fact, my son referees right now. So he's worked his way up to Division I college referee while he's in college, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
So there's a lot of soccer. I think Premier League started yesterday, so that's been on 24/7 here at our house since they came back to the pitch.
Yeah, and Wolves are having a pretty good season this year, much better than people thought. I don't know if you keep up with the Prem, but
I have no choice because of my
I played soccer all throughout middle school and high school, and I still enjoy following it. Yeah, I'm big into the Prem.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, if you're in Toledo, college soccer, men's college soccer, like the University of Akron, very, very good. University of Michigan. Yeah, no, my kids are all over it. They love it.
That's very cool. And, well, I'm starting to wind down on the questions. I don't really know if I got any more. Joey, how about you?
I'm good. Do you have any more for us?
No, man, you guys are amazing. Honest to God, this is one of the more enjoying interviews I've done. Very relaxed. You guys are very, very professional, but very engaging. And the fact that I'm very humbled that you would even consider interviewing me or our company. And I really greatly appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, no, we just appreciate having you on the show. Like I said, being young entrepreneurs ourselves, we love learning from the experiences of others. And I mean, it's been a blast having you on the show. And we obviously really appreciate the ice cream that you sent. So yeah, thank you for everything.
Yeah, no worries. And reach out if you guys need anything else. And we're happy to keep collaborating as we grow.
That's awesome. Yeah, we finished about 3/4 of it on the show. We had to save some. We had to save some for the other guys, or else we would have. It would have been gone.
No.
We told them to save some for them to try.
No, that's awesome. I'm proud of you guys for doing that because it is good stuff. And I'm so, above all else, I'm so glad you love the product. That brings a smile to my face more than anything else.
Oh, yeah, it was amazing. We definitely will purchase it again and tell all our friends about it. Like I said, I already had a friend yesterday who told me he was purchasing some. So we'll definitely be purchasing it again.
Yep.
Great. Guys, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great day and a great weekend.
One last thing, where can they find you on social media and your website?
Yeah, let me look that up real quick. It's proofalcoholicicecream.com.
Your Instagram handle is Proof Alcoholic Ice Cream, no spaces. I believe your Facebook is Proof Alcoholic Ice Cream as well. I just looked at that yesterday. And let's see and your domain to find you on your website is proofalcoholicicecream.com.
Perfect.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
All right, After Hours Nation, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to stay updated, you can check out our site at afterhourscast.com. Don't forget to tune in next Tuesday morning for our next episode. After Hours Nation, stay thirsty, my friends.